Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to map out your success in English C1000E. We are breaking down Professor Jamie Dingman's syllabus to show you exactly how this course works, what's expected of you, and most importantly, how you can totally ace this semester.
And let's just start with the most important message, and this is coming straight from your professor. You can do this. This isn't just some nice little saying. It's really the core philosophy of the entire course. It's been designed from the ground up to support you and help you grow. So let's just take a deep breath and walk through everything you need to know, step by step.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll meet your guide, Professor Dingman, and get a feel for the course structure. Then, we'll cover the essential tools you'll need for success. After that, we are going to decode the single most important part of this syllabus, your grading contract. From there, we'll look at your built-in support system, and finally, we'll cover the rules of play. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into Section 1, Meet Your Guide and the Course. Before we get into all the nuts and bolts, let's get to know your professor and the unique, really flexible structure of this class.
So your guide for this semester is Professor Jamie Dingman, who uses she/her pronouns. Now, this course is fully asynchronous, and that's a really key concept to get. It means you don't have any scheduled live classes on Zoom or anything like that. You get to work on your own time, fitting the course into your life, as long as you meet the assignment deadlines. But listen, asynchronous does not mean you're alone. Not at all. Support is built right into the fabric of this course.
And here's exactly how you can stay connected. You've got multiple ways to reach out, and each one kind of has its own purpose. Email is great for those more detailed, thoughtful questions. The Remind app, that's perfect for quick updates or if you have a fast question. And yep, there's even a Google Voice number for calls or texts. The big takeaway here is never, ever hesitate to reach out. Communication is your lifeline.
Need some one-on-one time? Well, office hours are going to be your best friend. And you've got a fantastic mix of in-person hours right on campus and Zoom appointments you can book for online meetings. You can schedule these right through Canvas, so this is your guaranteed time to talk through your ideas, your drafts, or any challenges you might be facing.
Now for Section 2, your tools for success. Just like any big project, you're going to need the right gear for this course, so let's make sure your toolkit is ready to go. Here's exactly what you'll need. So your main book is Piper Kerman's memoir, Orange is the New Black. The good news is you won't need it right away, not until September 10th, and digital copies are totally fine. For tech, you'll need reliable internet and either Google Docs or MS Word. And listen up, because this is a super important tech tip that's going to save you a huge headache. Professor Dingman's computer cannot open .wps files, so make sure you're saving and submitting in a format like .docx or just sharing a Google Doc link. Now let's talk about the most valuable tool you have. Your time. As a 5-unit transferable college-level course, you should plan on dedicating about 15 hours a week to it. Look, that number isn't meant to scare you off, it's meant to empower you. Knowing this right from day one lets you build a realistic schedule, to block out time for reading and writing, and really just set yourself up for success instead of getting surprised later on.
Okay, you might want to grab a pen or open up a note because this next section is truly the heart of the syllabus. This is exactly the information you'll need to complete your very first assignment, the syllabus reflection. We're talking about the contract that determines your grade.
This class uses a system called labor-based grading. So what on earth is that? Well, it's a philosophy that says your grade should reflect the work you put in, your labor, not some subjective judgment of your talent. If you complete the required amount of work, you are guaranteed to get that grade. It's a system designed to lower stress, encourage you to take risks, and shift the focus from chasing a perfect score to actually engaging in the process of learning and growing as a writer. And this slide right here, this is your contract. It is that clear-cut. It lays out the exact terms for success. For an A, you'll need to complete 3 tutor conferences and stay under a limit of 10 missing and 10 late assignments. For a B, it's 2 conferences and a 15 assignment limit. For a C, 1 conference and a 20 assignment limit. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that you are in the driver's seat. You are in complete control of the grade you earn. There are no secrets, no hidden rules. It's all right here. So this is probably the #1 question on your mind right now. If there isn't a running point total on Canvas, how in the world are you supposed to know where you stand? That is an excellent question. And the answer is actually really simple and honestly pretty empowering. You track your own grade. It's a super simple 3-step check you can do at any time. First, just count up your total number of missing and late assignments in Canvas. Second, count your completed tutor conferences. And third, just confirm your 2 major essay revisions are submitted. Compare those numbers to the contract we just looked at, and boom,
You'll know your exact grade at any point in the semester. The late work policy here is designed with a lot of flexibility because, life happens. You can submit work all the way up until the final week of the semester, but just remember, it's all tied to that contract. Going over the number of late assignments for the grade you're aiming for will change the terms. But here's the golden rule, the most important part of this whole policy. If you're falling behind, you have to communicate with Professor Dingman. A quick email can make all the difference.
So look, you are not expected to do all of this on your own. Section 4 is all about your built-in support system. Think of it as a crew of resources that are dedicated to helping you succeed every single step of the way.
And this just goes to show how central that support really is. It is literally built right into your grade. Just like you saw in the contract, tutor conferences are required. It's 3 for an A, 2 for a B, and 1 for a C. These aren't just suggestions or some way to get extra credit. They are a fundamental part of the work you'll do in this course to improve your writing and to succeed. Okay, so to make sure you get the absolute most out of these meetings, you gotta come prepared. That means being on time, having the assignment prompt with you, bringing your draft, even if it's messy or incomplete, that's okay, and most importantly, coming with specific questions. Are you struggling with your thesis? Not sure about a paragraph? This is your time to get focused one-on-one help.
All right, on to our final section, the rules of play. You can think of these as the ground rules that make sure we have a fair, respectful, and productive environment for everybody in the class.
So how do you attend an asynchronous class? Well, it's all about being present and engaged. This means you need to be logging into Canvas at least 3 times a week to keep up with announcements and course materials, and, of course, submitting your work on time. It's also really important to know that if you're inactive for 5 or more consecutive days without getting permission, you may be dropped from the course to make room for another student.
Academic integrity is completely non-negotiable. It just means that the work you turn in is your own. Now, on the flip side, academic dishonesty includes all the obvious stuff like copying work or buying essays, but, and this is a big one these days, it also includes the unacknowledged use of AI programs like ChatGPT to write your assignments. Using AI without permission is a serious violation of the policy.
And this quote from Professor Dingman really gets to the very heart of why this matters so much. She writes, "I want your own, original, genuine writing with all its beauty and flaws." Just remember that labor-based grading system. You cannot fail this class for writing a bad essay. You only fail if you don't do the work. So there's no reason to cheat, right? The entire course is set up to celebrate your process and your growth, not to demand perfection.
All right, so after all this talk about rules and grades, what's the fun stuff you actually get to write about? Well, you're going to dive into some fascinating, really complex topics like personal mindsets, the customs that define our communities, and you'll take a critical look at the criminal justice system, all through powerful sources like the memoir Orange is the New Black and the amazing podcast Serial.
And that brings us to the end. You have the map for the semester now. You've got your tools for success. You understand the contract that puts you in control. So the only question left is, what's your plan? Your very first step is to take everything we've just covered and use it to complete your syllabus reflection assignment. It's time to own your learning and kick this semester off strong. You've got this.